What would your life look like if simply loving the person you love or being the person you are means you could lose your life or face violence? LGBTQ rights are not a separate category of rights. They are human rights, and denying them undermines the values of dignity, freedom, and equality, which we all claim to believe in. I've researched global and local LGBTQ rights issues and listened to real stories of those affected. I don't bring this up to shame anyone. I bring this up because these are human issues, and we can make progress by appealing to our shared humanity. LGBTQ people face real human rights violations, even in places like the US. Recognizing LGBTQ rights as human rights promotes fairness and freedom. We all benefit from a society where everyone is treated with dignity. LGBTQ people face real human rights violations. In over 60 countries, same-sex relationships are criminalized. In some, they're punishable by death. For example, in Uganda, a law was passed in 2023 that made same-sex relationships punishable by law in prison. And certain offenses related to homosexuality can even result in the death penalty. This law not only criminalizes LGBTQ people, but it encourages public reporting and putting lives at an even greater risk. LGBTQ Americans can still be denied health care, adoption rights, or face harassment, especially trans people. For example, there was a 16-year-old named Alex. He came out transgender to his parents, and he wanted to start hormone therapy with the support of their doctor. But in their state, the new laws made it illegal for the doctors to provide gender-affirming care to minors, even with parental consent. Therefore, Alex was forced to stop the treatment, which resulted in much anxiety and depression within Alex. And all of that anxiety and depression had been getting better, but it suddenly worsened. All they wanted to do was live as themselves, but the law treated them like a threat rather than a human being. It's easy to think of these as isolated issues, but when we strip away the labels, these are things that we all want. These are the same freedoms that we all want. The right to live, love, work, and even exist without fear. Recognizing LGBTQ rights as human rights promotes freedom for all. Human rights are based on values like liberty, equality, and protection from harm. LGBTQ people are simply asking to be included in those rights. Equality under the law means that everyone, regardless of race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation, should have the same rights, protections, and opportunities. But when these people are being denied the right to marry, adopt children, access health care, or even just exist without fear, we're creating two different versions of equality, one for some and one for everyone else. When we exclude LGBTQ people from full legal protection, we weaken the very idea of equality for everyone. Imagine having to fight for basic rights that others take for granted, like marrying the person you love or just being called by the right name. And when we recognize LGBTQ rights as a part of human rights, it doesn't just help LGBTQ people. It helps build a more just and more compassionate world for everyone. A more inclusive society benefits everyone. Studies show that inclusive workplaces are more productive, collaborative, and innovative. In the community, LGBTQ youth in more accepting communities are less likely to attempt suicide. This isn't about agreeing on everything. This is about agreeing that no one deserves to suffer for being themselves. Whether you're LGBTQ or not, this issue affects all of us. Because our society is more stronger when it's more inclusive, more equal, and more just. LGBTQ rights are not just extra rights, they're human rights, and recognizing them is an example of the kind of world that we want to build. It starts with a small call to action. Speak up or even just listen. The LGBTQ community, like every other, deserves to live freely without fear of discrimination, violence, or rejection. It's essential for us all to recognize that LGBTQ rights are not just a political issue, they're a human rights issue. When we stand up for LGBTQ rights, we stand up for dignity, equality, and fairness for every person, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. But beyond just supporting laws and policies, we must also foster a community of love, understanding, and acceptance. In every conversation, in every action, and in every policy change. Let us remember that when we fight for human rights for one group, we fight for the rights of all people. Human rights are universal. When we lift each other up, we make the world a more kind, more just, and more safe place. Let's continue the work. Stand together. Advocate for a world where LGBTQ rights are celebrated, not just tolerated. Thank you.